Welcome back. Get mic'd up and see how this goes.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for the love on the unemployment video. I was really affirmed in the response in the comment section, and I'd like to see this video as an extension of that video, a deeper dive into the topic of networking. Now, whether you're looking for a job or whether you're inside a job, there has been this focus on networking and building relationships and strategically positioning yourself to land that next opportunity or meet someone who could put you on in some way. But this world of networking has become a performance. I think that we all to some extent need to play the game, and so we can't be unrealistically negative about this. I mean, we can, but I think the way I would love to explore this is from the lens of this is something that happens. So let's look at the good, the bad, the ugly, the complicated, as we love to do here, and let's get into it. I have been to countless networking events, coffee catch-ups, Zoom meetings, follow-up emails, messages through LinkedIn. I've sent them, I've invited, I've been invited. I am part of this game, and I think that this is not something that I want to run away from, but rather critically look at why do we do it. Everybody looks like they know what they're doing. When it comes to careers, I would argue that our career is a social construct. Because when we think about it, we can create our own reality, and people are doing this. I was looking into social constructivism because I remember being really intrigued by this idea that as humans, we accept realities based on habits and custom. When something has been done enough, when we see something being reinforced enough, we begin to see that as reality. And what we're seeing when it comes to the world of work, when it comes to the world of building your network, building your social capital, you need to be seen doing something. It could literally be anything. Post yourself on LinkedIn, attending a workshop, share your reflections on how you graduated with certain awards, share a new business that you've started, and automatically that is signaling that you are a doer, that you are being visible, that you are partaking in activities that reinforce the reality that you are a successful person. And so whether or not these things are very substantive and how they're being evaluated, we just see you doing something, and so we think you know that you know what you're doing. I think this is an interesting place to start. When it comes to networking, signaling our social capital, our rank in the social hierarchy, let's be real, everybody sounds more impressive than what they actually are, or things sound more impressive than what they actually were. I definitely have done this, and I know I'm speaking to friends here because that's even what we're taught in our CVs, in our resumes, in our job interviews. You need to make sure that you're using I did this, I did that, I. We know the formulas we need to apply to signal our value to these corporations, hiring managers, organizations, companies, opportunities. Our careers can really be a reality that we construct because we need to embellish things in order to even get a look in. And even then, that might not be enough. These kinds of events and spaces where you're expected to meet people, show that you are someone of value, to focus on building genuine connections. You might not actually connect with anyone or everyone in a space. I have guaranteed to find myself genuine relationships when I haven't tried to make my life seem more impressive than what it actually was, because that was then sustainable. There was a genuine conversation happening. And I think you can always sense when something is a bit off. You can always see when someone is trying a little hard. Wouldn't you agree that our careers our corporate offices, our workplaces are now a ball. And I want to bring Bridgerton into this to demonstrate what I mean. I love Bridgerton, and we love Lady Danbury, who is Adjoa in real life, another Monday born. And I absolutely love Sophie Beck in this latest season, who is the main character. Yaren Ha. She's actually an Australian actress. We love to see that. I would say her character really speaks to this point. She attends a masquerade ball in this season. She wanted to have a night where she experienced the magic that always seemed out of her reach as she grew up under the wickedness of her stepmother. And she wanted to have a night away from the drudgery of her daily life. That was such a beautiful motivating factor for her to attend this ball. When she went, she had to look the part though, because this was a event that was for nobility of society. It wasn't for the maids to attend. She was a maid and she disguised herself as it was a masquerade ball, but she was still looking the part. She had the beautiful gown. She was able to, even though she kind of fumbled her way when she needed to figure out what the dance cards were, she was able to survive that. And it was like, okay, she was meant to be there. That says a lot though, the masquerade ball. I think a lot of our workplaces and these networking events, a lot of us are putting on a mask, because if people really knew who we were, then maybe we would feel like we don't deserve to be there. Maybe others would think, who are you to be here? I really love thinking about now, like, how can I take off the mask in these places that I feel this pressure to perform in? I also think this brings in questions of class, because when we look at Sophie, she is a maid. So in society, she is supposed to serve the needs and wants of those who have wealth, who have titles in the society. Let's be real. There's also a level of social capital that you kind of need to succeed at a networking event. You can't just come to the networking event in your plain casual clothes. You need to put on a suit. You need to wear something that makes you look the part. And those things can be expensive to get, although I am a lover of just finessing things that are not that expensive and you can still look put together. I think that work now is also another commercial opportunity. We need new bags, we need cool outfits, we need to have the new scent to attend these things. I want to bring it to the hopeful part of this, okay? I love the underdog in any kind of movie, sporting tournament. The character who is considered to have all the odds against them is always my favorite. So that's why I love Sophie Beck, of course. And when I look at her character, it's just incredible that she was able to attend this big ball, this big event where all the eligible ladies of the ton are there wanting to attract the attention of the eligible men of the season. And she didn't go looking for that, but we know that she's going to end up with the Bridgerton guy. I've forgotten his name. I love this idea that even if you're someone who doesn't necessarily feel like you are the most successful or you have all the odds in your favor, I like to think that what's going to happen for you is going to happen for you. So Sophie Beck, even though she was literally a maid, even though her stepmother literally hated her, resented her, and one of her stepsisters, the other one was kind of nice to her, but even though she was in that terrible situation, that awful situation, she had to undergo so much injustice, she made it to that ball and she ends up bagging the baddest man in the film. So, well, in the season. So I love this. God will network for you. He'll mention you to people who need your services. Keep going. Whether you believe in God or whether you just believe that everything will work out for you, I really think this is an empowering way to look at things. And honestly, I believe it's true. I don't know what magic is in the air, but I really would just keep that in your back pocket if you're ever at a place and you're wondering, like, I just feel out of place here. Someone's looking after you. And you will always win when you move from a place of love. Sophie Beck she never stooped to the level of her wicked stepmother and sister. I really think that she is someone who has so much integrity, has so much, obviously she's a real person. You know, she shows anger, she shows emotion, she shows hurt. She has trauma that she's dealing with, but she moves from a place of love. When you see her at that masquerade ball looking around, it's so beautiful. It's just such a beautiful thing to perceive someone who is really truly appreciating what is around her. Everyone else there, that was their norm. That's what they're used to. But if you are someone who's deeply moved by a cause, there is a deeper reason why you want to get that job. There's a deeper reason as to why you want to meet that person and have a conversation with them. You will win. You will win. Okay? Yes. Let's talk about proximity to celebrity slash people who matter. I found a TikTok where the creator, Maj Cups, discusses this idea that when you attend a networking event, nobody wants to network with someone who needs something. People want to network with people who already have something to offer. And so attending these kinds of spaces, the idea can be get close to the person who is the most successful, who has the most celebrity profile, who's done the really cool things in the room that everyone's in awe of. You see it in Bridgerton as well, when all the women like flock to the guys or to the Bridgerton guy. Again, sorry, his name, like he deserves a name, but yeah, the Bridgerton guy. It's kind of cringe because it's just like desperation. It's almost like you are not truly seeing even that person for who they really are. And often you see that people who grow up with everything around them, those people can often feel like it's hard to trust people because they don't know what their intentions are. It's like, are you my friend because you like me, or is it because you want what I have? Sophie Beck is really the exceptional woman here because she is there not to bag the guy. She's there because that is something that she wanted to experience for herself. So she is very strong-willed. She is somebody who has goals, who has dreams, who has aspirations, and she's willing to do what she needs to get them. She's not expecting somebody to magically come and take all of her problems away. Obviously, she daydreams. Obviously, she ends up thinking this Bridgerton guy is amazing, and she daydreams about a life where he accepts her for who she is and she gets to be with him, and we know that that's what's going to happen. I also think that we need to take ourselves as people who are celebrities in our own right, not in the fact that we're so important, but yeah, actually we kind of are. And sometimes we discount ourselves and we put all the value onto everyone else in the room. Personal taste intuits what we have to learn about ourselves. There is nothing trivial about our favorite colors, outfits, paintings, bands, cities, or humans. They are all lessons of recognition that, if taken seriously, tell us about ourselves in the present and future. Really getting to know yourself, I think, is also the antidote of performing and feeling like you need to be close to the people who matter because you see yourself as somebody who matters. I think even in the conversations that you might end up having in the workplace, even with people who you report to, when you just see them as a normal human being and you're able to have a normal conversation with them and you're actually listening and taking in what they do outside of work, or maybe something difficult that they're currently working through, or there's a certain interest that really helps them take their mind off the stresses of their daily grind. I think that that's actually a real asset that helps you develop genuine relationships and just genuinely be remembered because you're not begging. What do they say in the UK? A beg friend? Is it beg friend? I love the UK slang. And the other thing that I would say then, I think we can learn from this, is that in this climate of like climb, meet, attend, go for it, post, be visible, 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 I think there's actually power, as it says here, say no to everything that doesn't match the vision. There is power in actually not having a conversation, not saying yes to catch up with that person. We need to also be asking ourselves, are these the kind of people I want to build relationships with anyway? Just because they are the celebrity, just because they are the person who matters in the room, quote unquote, matters, does that mean I actually need to talk to them? Because let's not be forcing connections that are not going to be sustainable and that are going to entrap us into a version of ourselves that we don't even like. Career is a whole different language. It isn't learned using convention. And I want to reference the video that got a great response. And I heard from you so many stories of people like myself who have experienced what it's like to be looking for work, who have experienced the hopelessness even, and the sadness and the frustration and even the anger that comes with feeling like you have so much to offer but you're just not getting a chance. I think that networking is truly now seen as the alternative to putting in a resume, to putting in a CV, to writing a cover letter. It's cool, but at the same time, it's not predictable as well. And so we're taught to apply for roles and to progress in our careers in this conventional way. But then the way that the world actually works, as we know, is different to the world that we are taught to exist within. We then come to realize that everything is a strategic move. Appearances can be deceiving, basically. And so I found this quote that says, "Those fake checkups don't work on me. I'm good. Mind your business." Kind of funny, because we can always tell when somebody is not being upfront when we feel an energy is off. I found this funny TikTok, domg.o. He actually does this skit reenacting like a networking conversation, and he literally says, "I can't lie, I don't actually care, I just want your LinkedIn." I'm sure you've been to an event or you've been in an interaction with someone where you can tell that the person actually doesn't care about you, they don't care about what you're telling them, they have a strategic move in mind. I love what this other creator speaks about. It's Mark Nichols, who actually says our generation's lack of emphasis on community and friendship is something that we actually need to talk about. And he was speaking about the fact that the questions that people can ask are really revealing of their intentions. People are wearing masks, people are masking what their true intentions are, people are not being upfront, people are not being transparent, and it's honestly this big game. And I think that's what we also have to see this as. Like I said, maybe at the very beginning, this is not something that is necessarily bad. Like, we know that this is the game that we need to play as young people, as adults who need to function in this society and pay our bills. I think it's very important that we examine how we want to relate to this system that we're forced to kind of be in. I love this model of community and support and genuine friendships and relationships. Obviously, we need to keep the boundaries. Sometimes you meet friends through the workplace, sometimes you don't, and you know those people that you need to keep away from. But I love this idea of giving without attachment. The best networkers don't just network, they help people without keeping score. The favors compound invisibly for years. Then suddenly doors open that you didn't even know existed. And then, this idea that the real flex is a supportive community. I think that when you hit an all-time low, or when you're going through a difficult time navigating your career, or there's a difficult conversation that you need to have, maybe you want to ask for a pay rise, maybe you want to negotiate a different deal or something of that nature. When you actually have people that care about you and not just what you can give them, that is going to be beneficial in the long run. That is going to be sustainable. This is very important as well for early career professionals. It's really important to seek out those people who you know have your back, who are not trying to, they're not trying to undermine you. Archives by Ida. She's an American Gambian. She discusses in this video the fact that stay on social media because that is now the place where things happen. I've been loving this YouTube channel because it's allowed me to share ideas that I've been thinking about. You guys have really shown out in the comments and have really given some really critical, challenging perspectives that I think is really what this social media platform can offer in the best possible way. When you feel this pull, like I need to be on certain platforms, otherwise I'm not going to have opportunities, that is just such a an interesting place to now be. What she discusses in this video is this idea that profiles on social media, whether it's your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram bio, your TikTok, you have a profile, a biography, an introduction, and then this is now like your product. You're trying to sell yourself to people so that they like, they follow, that they engage, that they share. When we see ourselves as products that we're selling to other people, even at an event, listing off your highlight reel, do I really want to do that? The names that we don't know, the people that we don't see are really the ones who are the winners in all of this, because they don't feel the need to perform, they don't feel the need to justify who they are, explain who they are, demonstrate their value to others. And this doesn't necessarily mean that these people are people who aren't online, who never post anything that they've done. But I think that when we look at our lives as projects that need to be lived in our day-to-day life, if we are actually active in our communities, if even in our work, whatever that work may be, if we do that diligently and with a level of respect for ourselves and for the service that we are providing, that consistency over time, it looks like at first nothing is happening, but then everything changes. And that's what I believe networking can really be. And I've experienced that, I think, where you do something that you're genuinely interested in, or you have a conversation that is genuine, you allow yourself to be seen, you take the mask off. And I'm so looking forward to the next Bridgerton episodes to drop in this later season, because Sophie attends another ball apparently and she's not wearing the mask. Literally, mask off. Like, that is just so freeing to just be who you are. Let's finish this off. Networking is the it club. That's what I think. That's what I've said. I think now it's really become an alternative to the conventional career stages that we've been taught. Okay, if networking is the future, how can I do it in a way that I want to do it? I hope that you enjoyed this video. This is a topic that I find so fascinating, and if we have any psychologists, if we have any social scientists among us, if we have any partakers in networking events and people who really love observing the way of corporate offices and the way of networking, the art of networking, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you feel like your career is a social construct? Do you feel like networking is almost like this dystopian world? I'd been thinking about these ideas over the week. I put together this little presentation. I hope you love it. Please like, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you next week. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Take care. See you next week.